My name is Jozkoski. Didn't really have any trauma or anything like that. I was brought up pretty well off. We had everything we wanted when we were younger. Played lots of sports, did hockey, baseball. Little junior public school that I went to was pretty close-knit with all my buddies and stuff like that. We all grew up together, kindergarten right through grade 6. Back then it was a lot of marijuana, and there would be a little bit of alcohol, and I would drink, but drinking wasn't, I didn't really get into that until later. It was just, I just wanted to smoke weed all the time. Slowly that progressed into mushrooms, some psychedelic stuff, some acid. We would dabble with ecstasy, MDMA, stuff like that. I guess it would have been probably my early 20s. We started getting into the opiates, starting to get into the Oxycontins and stuff like that. And then eventually we'd start sniffing those pills, right? It wasn't just taking them anymore. It was starting to be straight up heavy abuse of the Oxycontins. I needed, the 80 milligram Oxycontins. I'm taking up to 10 a day. If you don't have them when you wake up in the morning, it's just that deathly withdrawal it's insane how bad it started to get. I tried to detox. I would go to Pinewood for a few days and just be sick as hell. And the minute I got out, I would just go straight back to the pills. Till eventually the fentanyl patches and the fentanyl pills came around. I ended up getting an impaired charge for driving. I was passed out at a stoplight. Thank God I didn't hit anybody or anything. I did get a DUI for that. Decided I was going to go to treatment at the Renaissance Center in Brooklyn. A couple days before that, I was trying to detox, and I was so sick that made a bright decision to get in my ex-wife's truck, drive to South Oshawa and pick up dope. Went down there, got some fentanyl, ended up smashing her truck up into a stoplight. Again, thank God I didn't hit anybody else, but wrote that truck completely off, got arrested, got another DUI, spent some time in jail. Ended up going to treatment a few days later. They let me out on a bail. I did my 35-day program, never really took into the 12-step program or any of that. Figured if I could get the 35 days in, I could figure out how to use controllably. So the day I got out, I ended up using. The fentanyl use just ramped up even worse after that. I was neglecting my family, 2 children, totally pulled back from that, just wasn't seeing them at all. All that mattered at that time was getting money and getting fentanyl. And my aunt and uncle, they thought maybe, I'll go to treatment again, so they let me come and stay at their house for a month before I went back to Renaissance again. I only lasted 4 days at treatment that time, and I had fentanyl delivered to the treatment center and got kicked out of there. There was very few things left I had for help, family-wise, friends-wise. I'd already burnt every bridge there was. All that was left was fentanyl and homelessness. So then I ended up getting a couple more charges, went back to jail for a short period of time. Was still using pretty heavily, just hanging around dope dealers, trap houses. I had pretty much accepted that my life was over at that point. I just couldn't figure out how to get sober. Was actively trying to overdose on fentanyl just to kind of end my life, because it was just, I was creating so much suffering and grief for everybody in my family. I would get clean for, a couple days or a month. Everybody would have this hope, and then I would go back out using. Kind of a up and down roller coaster for my children, for my ex-wife, for my parents and everybody. And I was just, I'd kind of given up. It was just it was time to, give up on this trying to get sober thing. For some reason, I had renewed my phone card, and I got an email from Renaissance in Toronto. I didn't even care about getting sober. It was more that I just needed to get off the street. So I decided I'll make the change and move to Toronto. I don't think I ever accepted that I had a problem. If I could just remove the drugs for a few weeks, that would be enough. I felt like I wasn't part of that, addict community, right? I wasn't less than, because I came from a good home and, I had a good job. I wasn't the type of addict that needed a 12-step program or therapy. I could do it on my own. That was, I think, the biggest thing, right? Is I would just remove myself from the problem for a few days, get over the withdrawal, and go back to living my life how I wanted to live it. And I just, I don't think that worked, because I didn't dig deep enough to figure out what was the underlying, reason for me wanting to use these drugs all the time. First time I went to Renaissance in Brooklyn, I had heard about Alpha House. I was still stuck on this. I just need a bit of clean time, and I could get back to normal. And obviously that didn't work. And then the time I went to Toronto, the counselors there had recommended Alpha House again. And when it came up, I was like, I had these memories of, okay, somebody had told me they went there, somebody that had a good stay there. Let's try that. I was super nervous when I got here. My expectations of like what Alpha House was going to be, I assumed it was going to be kind of more medical, more like a hospital setting. And when I got here, it was more like a house, a big home, big kitchen. The staff was super welcoming when I got here. I could relate to these guys right away. Like the first 10 minutes I was in the door sitting with the counselors talking, these guys have, what I'm looking for here. I think having the counselors like on site all the time that are all 12-step guys, and they didn't really like push the 12-step, but it was like it was there if we wanted it. Like they suggested like, this is how we got sober, and if you want to try it, this is definitely the way we did it. They give us enough freedom, with lots of rules, because a lot of us we need that. The way the guidelines are set out for cooking and chores and stuff like that, again, I feel like it was the right balance of freedom and routine and rules that we needed to have. Make your bed, like just simple little things that a lot of times us as addicts and mental health, we forget about those things. I just kind of accepted the rules that they had here, and it seemed to work out for me. I still get along with the staff great. I come here on a weekly basis still. I'm almost 2 years sober now, and I'm still here twice a week for the alumni meeting. I was 35 days clean when I got here. Just knew I needed something, and I knew all these guys were members of CA or AA or something, and they were all, multiple years clean, been through the same, insanity of using, all the hard drugs, homelessness, jails, institutions, all that crazy stuff. And then having so many different types of guys, like there's enough staff that, there's some alcoholics, there's some drug addicts, there's some older guys, some younger guys, helping us figure out anything from, OW, when, if you don't have money coming in to figure that stuff out, health reasons, dental, whatever you need, how to do your laundry, again, how to cook, even with relationship stuff, because I was early through going through the final steps of my divorce at that time. So there was help with that for me. As I moved on for housing, to try and figure out housing, because obviously I couldn't stay here forever. Once I had gotten clean, my ex-wife allows me to have my children on the weekend, so it took me a little longer to find a place. They definitely help you figure out your next step. I got meaningful employment with some other guys through the program while I was here, so that was huge for me. And then the other gentleman at the stay at the house, right? It's just a few guys either graduated or went back out or whatever it was. So, it's tough sometimes because you get close to some of these guys and then you wake up and they're gone, but I guess that's the reality of addiction when we're not ready to quit yet. But I definitely felt close with the guys. Like there was a definite community. We would go to meetings together. We would jump on the subway together. The guys that that stayed around the program and stayed clean, I still stay in contact with a lot of them now. This was the first place I could legit call home during all those crazy years of nonsense. It would be so-and-so's house, or you'd be at a couch or a shelter or whatever. But when I was here during my stay, we'd be out and about, and when I would say, after we're done, we're gonna head home, it's like it's a different feeling of like what's home to you. So for me, those alumni meetings, it's like it's important for me to come back for those, because this was my home for many months. And I like to see the guys, and it reminds me where I was at too, right? It keeps me sober, seeing the guys that are early, the guys that have been here for a few months. I like to see them growing, doing their program, doing well, and I've gained more friends through the guys that have come after me, that are here. And some of the alumni that were here years before me, I ended up becoming friends with, because we have that connection of, being caught in addiction and, having Alpha House as somewhere that helped us get sober and, have recovery in our lives every day. Currently, I'm back to work. I'm a woodworker, like cabinet maker by trade. Been doing that for 20 years, making okay money. Seeing my kids, healthy, happy, doing well in school, playing board games and stuff like that was something I really never got into when I was younger. It was just partying. So, when all of us are all under one roof and we're all, warm, healthy, happy, everybody's fed, there's snacks, playing board games, everybody's smiling and laughing. That makes me proud to have, made it through recovery and have those experiences now. Just, just simple things, just sitting around the table with all of us, just, laughing, having a good time, just playing games. The girlfriend that I have now, we dated all through high school. That relationship was kind of strained when we were younger as I started to get into the depths of addiction, and I kind of pushed her away. She's definitely not an addict by any means. She doesn't drink and smoke drugs or any of that stuff. And as that relationship kind of fell apart, again, I got deeper into addiction for the better part of 20 years. Had a completely different life. She would definitely check in with me every once in a while, and they were just short, quick, "Hey, how are you? Hope you're doing well." And then she had reached out to me when I was here, and I explained to her the situation. I'm sober now. I'm living in Toronto, divorced, have my kids on the weekends and stuff like that. And again, my stay at Alpha House and doing the 12-step program, that kind of taught me how to have a different type of relationship, not rush things. Because at that time, like, what did I technically have to offer somebody in a relationship? I was technically homeless. I don't have a license. I was unemployed. What I needed and what she needed at that time, it wasn't a relationship, and it was a friendship again. But we always had this deep connection. So when I moved out to Alpha House, we finally got to see each other again. She has 2 children of her own. I have 2 children of my own. So they kind of take priority over what me and her want. But today, having a relationship, because of the way my program went with my sponsor, and being open and honest, and this different type of look of what a relationship should be, and then 25 years later, to have children that are grown and find your way back to each other and have a deep connection to me, that's love. Like, I'm in love with her. So yeah, I had an amazing stay here. I'd recommend it to anybody. Just the help that they gave me, I was definitely not perfect when I came here. There's a couple times I probably almost got kicked out too for not following rules and trying to do things my own way. Without Alpha House today, I probably wouldn't even be here, to be honest. I really needed somewhere to go, and the stay I had here, 180 degrees changed my life. Helping me, get my children back. I have a great job now. I have my own place to live, pay my bills. An amazing girlfriend, who I love more than anything in the world. Without coming here and doing the things that they had suggested, I definitely don't think I would be here. And I don't mean just like I was at the end, and they gave me that hope and strength and courage, and to make those changes in my life, to move forward and deal with everyday struggles. Because life's not easy, even now that I'm sober. Like, it's not that it's all butterflies and rainbows and stuff like that. Like, life's hard out there, paying bills, and it's cold during the winter, and transportation and all that stuff is just, yeah, definitely without my stay at Alpha House, I don't think I'd be here.